Who are the Black voices, the influencers of Atlanta? Well, for a younger generation, the message is coming from here, recording studios where songs touching on topics about racism, generational poverty, and mistrust for the justice system are impacting the culture. A city with two cultural identities, the civil rights movement and hip-hop, one birthed out of the other. Both playing a significant role in Atlanta today, especially when Atlanta artists like T.I., Killer Mike, and 2 Chainz get involved in the communities to be an advocate for the culture. What inspired you as an artist? So you came out of Bankhead, became a success story, repping Zone 1, any chance you get. At what point in your music career did you realize, okay, this has to be more than just the music?
It wasn't really a point necessarily in my career. It was more so the state of the nation kind of pushed me into a place of action. You know, I felt somewhat obligated given my influence and you know, my amount of resources and so on and so forth. I just felt that, you know, I could be doing more.
T.I., like several other Atlanta hip-hop artists, has been in the front lines during controversial moments like Black Lives Matter protests and showing up to an Atlanta restaurant accused of racism, never afraid to bring politics into the music.
I think that music is always a reflection of the environment. Politics affect the environment, therefore politics affect the music. And if politics affect the music, then the music will have some way to reflect that.
He says hip-hop is helping to shape the current and next generation of leaders.
I mean, I think it's a blessing. I think it's a blessing. I think that there could not be hip-hop without the civil rights movement. It was that sense of rebellion, the same sense of rebellion that hip-hop had, the civil rights movement had, though. Every generation is supposed to disrupt. It's supposed to challenge the way things are being done, because that's the only way we could find better ways to do them.
And similar to T.I., Killer Mike has stepped up to the plate, a resident historian who takes on big issues in local politics.
Most corporations of any city in the United States, and you're a black-led city, that means something. That's not Detroit. That's not Compton, that's not Watts, that's not rebuilding a gentrifying like Harlem. That means you stayed your place and you made it.
Addressing the struggle of being Black in America, both Killer Mike and T.I. sit on Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom's transition team since they played a big role during the mayoral campaign. Dr. Joycelyn Wilson says their voice is desperately needed.
And what happened is you had these artists utilize their voice as a teaching moment to not only let people understand that we are not just thugs and inarticulate individuals, we are very influential artists who have a voice and who also have influence.
Wilson, who teaches hip-hop related courses at Georgia Tech, says the hip-hop influence starts young, which is visible at the innovative Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta. The academy infuses culture, music, and topics that matter to the students into the learning experience.
In this room we have MLK. MLK is someone that we want our kids to look up to. We want them to embody his spirit, his drive, his determination to make a difference in the lives of others.
He says creating the leaders of tomorrow means turning them into global citizens who passionately care about their communities, same way Martin Luther King Jr. did.
We want these kids to have a work ethic, because if you don't really know how to hunker down and to make an impact on the lives of others and to do what it takes, you're not going to be successful, and our communities won't be successful.
Ron Clark realizes that hip-hop shapes the minds of kids in Atlanta, and so does T.I., who wants to use that influence to create a culture of forward thinkers. If you could say one thing to MLK, or even ask him a question, what would that be?
That's a difficult one. There's so many. How did you do it? How did you do it? How did you, face so much hate and maintain such a sense of love? And just how did you do it?
In a city that's at the center of a multi-billion-dollar hip-hop industry, T.I. says the music gives the city a platform to address societal issues that affect Black lives. The same issue the city's civil rights leaders fought so hard for.
Every time we hear of someone being shot by the police with no consequence, every time we live through nothing happening, like there's just a tad of you that just kind of gets numb and more numb and more numb. And if it continues to happen, I think people could run the risk of not caring.
50 years ago today, a nation didn't just lose a leader. 4 children